In this video, you're going to learn how to make a simple skeuomorphic button in Webflow. Let's get going. So first, I have taken a new project, and inside the project, I will add a section now. Inside the section, let's give the section a full view height. And inside the section, I will add a div block and give a height of 100%. Set the layout as flex, align center, justify center as well, so that anything we put inside this div is gonna stay right in the middle. And also we wanna change the background color to something to light gray, like that. Now inside this div block, we're gonna add a link block and set the link block's position to relative. And inside the link block, we're gonna add a text block, and let's call it a button. Let's make it a bit bigger so that you guys can see. Make it bold, and I want all caps. All caps. And set the color to black. And I will get rid of the blue underline by checking this box, pressing this button. Now with the link block, we're gonna give some padding, about 20 pixels left and right. I want to reduce the top and bottom padding a little bit, 15 pixels. Yep. Now inside this link block, we are gonna add another div, and this div we're gonna set the position to absolute and spread it out. And this is the main div where we're gonna add border, and on hover, this border is gonna switch from top to bottom. So click the center and give it a border of 2 pixels. Let's give it a 3 pixels. Yep. And we're gonna set the color of the top border to white and the left border to white as well. So now you guys can see that there's this extrusion going on, the highlight on the top and the shadow on the bottom, which already looks like a skeuomorphic button. But the reason we took another div inside this link block is that we want to add some blur to it, and we don't want our text to get blurred as well. This is why we didn't do this with the link block. Rather, we put another div block inside, and we're gonna add blur to this div block. So let's add a blur, filter, blur. 5 pixels is a bit too much. Let's reduce it to 3 pixels. That looks nice. Now we're gonna go to the hover state, and in the hover state we're gonna switch the colors of the border. So with the top border, we're gonna switch the color to black from white. And the left border, we're going to do the same. And the right border, we're going to switch the black color to white. And with the bottom border, we're going to do the same thing. So now if we go to the preview, see guys, it's working, but we want to add a bit of a transition to smooth the button a little bit. So let's add a transition. We want to target all the properties, and let's say 300 milliseconds the duration, and easing is ease. Now it should look much better. See? So now we're going to learn another way we can achieve the same thing, which is particularly very useful when you're using say such as a form block, where you must use the default Webflow button, and you cannot use a custom button for the form to work. So we're going to see how we can do that. So let's get rid of this div block. Add another div block. Give it a height of 100%. And we're gonna set the layout to center. Everything stays in the center. And also we're gonna add that background color, which is a light blue, a light gray color. Now we're gonna add a form block. There's the form block. As you can see, we must use this submit button here, the default submit button, in order this form block to work. So how we can transform this button into the skeuomorphic button, we're gonna learn that now. So let's select the button, and what we're gonna do, we're gonna put the button inside a div block. Let's put the button inside a div block. So the div block by default took up the full width of the form block. Let's work it with let's work just like that. Let's keep the button take up the whole width of the form block. So we're gonna select the button, and we're gonna set the width to 100%. And we want to increase the padding of top and bottom padding to 15 pixels. And also we're gonna increase the size of the text by 18 pixels, make it a bold text, and also we want all caps. And we want to change the color as well to black. And for the background color, we're gonna set transparent. Now with this div block, we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna position the div block to relative and put another div block inside and make that absolute and take up the full space. Now we cannot, like the other button, we cannot do the outline method, because if we do that, our button is not gonna work, because the div block is right in front of the button, and if we set the hover, the div block will change, but the button will become inactive. And if we send the div block behind the button, in that case the hover will not work. So what we are gonna do, we're gonna put the stroke of 3 pixels and set the top border to white. We're gonna do the same with the side border, left hand side's border to white now, and we're gonna add the blur of 3 pixels. And in order for this to work, we will have to create an animation. So we want this div block 5 to be selected, and we're gonna set an animation of hover, mouse hover. So when we hover the mouse, this animation will start. So let's add this animation. Let's call it Neumorphic. And now we're going to select the div block 6, which is the outline div. And we're going to rotate the div. So we're going to rotate the div to 160 degrees, 180 degrees. And this should happen at no time. It should be, the duration should be 0 seconds. Done. And when we hover out, we want the div block to rotate counterclockwise. So let's select the div block 6 and rotate. Rotate to 0 degrees. So it will, on hover, it will rotate to 180 degrees, and when hovered out, it's gonna become to, it's gonna go back to its normal state, which is 0 degrees. And the duration will be 0 seconds. The only drawback with this method is that we cannot add any transition to soften it up or make the transition look smooth, because we're not setting any duration. We are setting 0 seconds duration. That's the only drawback with this. But it only when your design is involving this neumorphic theme, you wanna have this same look throughout your website. You can just compromise with that transition thing. So let's go to the preview mode and let's see, it's working. So guys, that's about it. Enjoy designing. Stay home, stay safe. If this video was useful to you, don't forget to give a thumbs up and subscribe our channel. Thank you.